like that, who's in interim charge, talking about instilling standards, that must be a huge warning, Pipes. If you're a professional footballer, whether you're a manager, a prospective manager, remember the Leicester don't have a manager at the moment, a fan, it must be a huge warning sign.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of us brought this up. I think I spoke about it in the season we went down with Brendan. So, you know, that's a long time ago now. That I watched this documentary once, and I don't want to keep going on about it because I know I've said it a lot, but it's called No Hunger in Paradise. And that was one of my worries at the time with that training ground. The reason why you don't want to keep bringing it up and talking about it throughout those periods is because it was a massive and a brilliant investment from the King Power Group. It was. But I've been there many times, and you see the players sort of swanning around. There's no hunger there. There really isn't. And you know, they've got everything done for them in that place, and it's all just too easy. And when I hear Andy King talk like that and give interviews like that, I think he's obviously witnessed that with this group of players that we've got.
Paul?
Yeah, look, a lot of fans have been blaming the training ground for quite a long time, whether it be for injuries or for the lack of performance, and you've got to think it is linked, haven't you? You've got to think it. But for all those managers you've just listed who said standards, why hasn't any of them managed to actually install the standards? You know, that's what they're paid for. And surely, I mean, look, in the career I work in, I've worked in management for 30 odd years, and I don't quite understand why a manager can't come in and motivate these players for a minimum getting them running, getting them chasing, getting them trying. I can't comprehend that, because if somebody's not doing it, and we've got all the stats in the world, you don't play them. It's as simple as that. But the problem is, you don't play them, they still get paid, don't they? And they don't care because they get paid so much. So it's a difficult thing. But what always winds me up with this is there are other people say it's the managers. There are other managers who are making a difference. Look at Norwich. They were going down. They were rocketing down. And they brought a new manager in. And when we play them, they will outfight us and beat us at the moment, 100%. So why can't we get a manager who can make that change? Because this team, on paper, are much better than Norwich. There's not one Norwich player that should get in this team on ability, but on effort, all of them get in.
It was interesting when, in the run-up to the game before Oxford, reading and watching the interviews from Matt Bloomfield, who's another manager who's gone in and just energised this positive energy and has been able to very quickly get them, Pipes, playing in a particular style with a particular mantra and definitely a particular attitude, where they came and really just bullied teams. And they've kind of lent into that, whilst the small pocket of real championship quality players that they have, and it is a small pocket for a side that's, you know, arguably going to get relegated this season, does the work, you know, at the top end of the pitch, whereas the rest of the players are just there to scrap and make everyone's day miserable. And just going back to what Paul was saying there, how can a manager, when you talk about Brendan Rodgers to Enzo, Steve Cooper, Ruud van Nistelrooy, Marty Cifuentes, come in and not have that effect? What are the reasons, as someone who's been in those kind of training ground situations before, as to why they're not getting those results? Although Enzo invariably did.
Yeah, Enzo did, but Enzo was that type of character where, exactly what Paul was saying, you know, Paul's hit the nail on the head with that. Enzo was the type of character who was like, if you don't give me what I want, you're not going to be in the team. Simple. I think the problem with Ruud and the problem with Marty that I could see, he kept picking the same sort of faces when he wasn't getting the kind of performances that he wanted. And that's the problem. And what a lot of managers do these days, and it really harms them, and I kind of understand why they do it,